If you're not careful, the wrong relatives can rob you of your happiness in old age. Yes, it's that serious. Certain family members will drain your energy, your resources, and your peace, and it happens faster than you think. Stick with me to the end to learn who these toxic relatives are and how to protect yourself before it's too late. Relative 1, the toxic critic. Let's dive deep into one of the most emotionally exhausting relatives you can encounter in old age, the toxic critic. This person thrives on pointing out what they perceive as your flaws, and trust me, they'll find something wrong with just about everything you do. It's not just major life choices they critique. They'll zero in on the smallest, most insignificant details, like the color of your curtains or the way you bake your favorite pie. The toxic critic often masks their jabs with phrases like, "I'm only trying to help," or "I just want what's best for you." But don't let those words fool you. Their comments, whether deliberate or not, can chip away at your sense of self-worth. Instead of feeling supported, you end up second-guessing your decisions, wondering if they have a point, or worse, feeling like you're never good enough. Even more insidious is how they weaponize your past mistakes. Maybe you made a bad financial decision decades ago, or perhaps you went through a rough patch in a relationship. The toxic critic will find ways to bring those moments back to the surface, framing them as gentle reminders to keep you grounded. But what they're really doing is anchoring you to regrets that no longer serve you. In some cases, their behavior isn't overtly malicious. They might genuinely believe they're giving constructive feedback. Unfortunately, their inability to filter their negativity creates an environment where you're constantly on edge, waiting for the next critique to land. And let's face it, when you've reached a point in life where you've seen, done, and learned so much, the last thing you need is someone trying to tell you how to live. Dealing with a toxic critic is emotionally draining because these relationships rarely change. You might try explaining how their words affect you, but more often than not, their response is to double down, insisting they're just being honest. In their mind, they're doing you a favor, when in reality, they're eroding your happiness. What can you do? Start by acknowledging that their words reflect their issues, not yours. Toxic critics often project their insecurities onto others. Maybe they're unhappy in their own lives, or they're stuck in a cycle of negativity they don't even recognize. While that might make you feel some empathy for them, it doesn't mean you have to tolerate their behavior. Set boundaries. When they make a snide remark, call it out calmly. I know you're trying to help, but those words feel hurtful rather than helpful. If the toxic critic persists, limit your interactions. If family events feel like a battlefield where their remarks fly unchecked, it's okay to step back or even decline invitations that put you in their firing line. Remember, the time you have left is precious. You've spent a lifetime navigating challenges, overcoming obstacles, and growing into the wise, resilient person you are today. You don't need someone constantly tearing you down. Prioritize relationships that bring joy, encouragement, and peace to your life. Leave behind the ones that leave you feeling anything less. Your golden years should be about lifting others and being lifted in return, not carrying the burden of someone else's toxic behavior. Protect your peace, because it's one of the most valuable things you have, and no relative has the right to take that away from you. Relative 2, the chronic borrower. Now let's talk about the chronic borrower. This is the relative who always has their hand out, not to shake yours, but to take something from it. They need money, they need a favor, they need help getting out of yet another mess they've created. And let's be honest, their needs never seem to end. The chronic borrower is skilled at tugging at your heartstrings. They'll paint a picture of dire circumstances, an overdue bill, an emergency that only you can fix, or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that requires a quick loan. They come to you with their best sob story or their biggest promises of repayment. Yet time after time, their words ring hollow. They might promise, "I'll pay you back next month." But when the time comes, they have a new excuse, or worse, they avoid the topic altogether. What's more infuriating is that they may even make you feel guilty for asking about the money. Somehow, you become the bad guy for expecting them to honor their word. What makes the chronic borrower particularly tricky is that they often exploit your sense of duty as a family member. They know you love them, they know you want to help, and they use that to their advantage. You might think, what's a few dollars between family? But when the requests keep piling up, those few dollars start to add up. But it's not just money. Chronic borrowers can also drain your time, your energy, and even your emotional bandwidth. Maybe they're always calling you to vent about their problems, but they never take your advice. Perhaps they constantly need a ride somewhere, or they expect you to drop everything at a moment's notice to help with their latest emergency. Here's the thing. You've worked hard your whole life, and the resources you have, whether it's your money, your time, or your emotional strength, are precious. At this stage in life, you should be investing those resources in things that bring you joy and fulfillment, not pouring them into a bottomless pit of someone else's problems. Of course, saying no to a family member can feel uncomfortable. The chronic borrower might accuse you of being selfish or cold-hearted. Don't let them manipulate you with guilt. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to protect your well-being. If you're struggling with how to handle them, start small. The next time they ask for something, pause and assess the situation. Ask yourself, is this truly an emergency, or is this a pattern? If it's a pattern, it's time to draw a line. You can respond kindly but firmly. I'm sorry, but I'm not in a position to help right now. You don't owe them an explanation. It's your right to decide where your resources go. It's also important to recognize that chronic borrowers often lack accountability. Helping them repeatedly doesn't teach them responsibility. It only enables their behavior. If they truly need help, point them toward resources or strategies that allow them to address their problems without relying on you. And let's not forget that chronic borrowers can sour the joy of family gatherings or relationships. You might start avoiding events for fear they'll corner you with another request. Don't let their behavior steal your happiness or your sense of connection with the rest of your family. Instead, take control by setting clear boundaries and sticking to them. Your old age is a time to celebrate what you've built, not to watch it get siphoned away by someone else's poor decisions. Protect your peace, your pocketbook, and your energy. You deserve relationships based on mutual respect and support, not endless borrowing and unkept promises. Remember, saying no isn't being selfish. It's self-care. And at this stage of life, your well-being comes first. Relative 3, the drama starter. Next up is the drama starter, that one family member who thrives on chaos. No matter where they go, drama follows, and unfortunately, they seem to love pulling you into their mess. Whether it's petty family, feuds, gossiping behind everyone's back, or stirring up conflicts where none existed, the drama starter is an expert at creating turbulence. This relative thrives on division. They may pit siblings against one another, spread rumors about you or other family members, or constantly bring up controversial topics just to watch everyone argue. Even worse, they often act as though they're the innocent victim when the fallout hits. You'll hear lines like, "I'm just saying what's true," or "I didn't mean for everyone to get upset." Meanwhile, you're left cleaning up the emotional mess they've created. Their drama doesn't just affect your emotional health, it affects your relationships with other relatives. Maybe they've whispered lies to turn a cousin or sibling against you, or they've manipulated situations to make you seem like the bad guy. Over time, their antics can corrode family bonds, leaving you feeling isolated or misunderstood. One of the most exhausting things about the drama starter is their unpredictability. You never know when they're going to strike or what new issue they'll manufacture out of thin air. Every phone call, every family gathering, every casual interaction becomes a potential battleground. And let's be honest, at this point in life, you've earned your peace and quiet. You don't need someone dragging you into unnecessary stress and conflict. So, how do you deal with a drama starter? The first step is recognizing their patterns. Most of the time, they feed off reactions. They want you to get upset, to defend yourself, to take sides. That reaction fuels their need for attention and power. The best defense? Refuse to play their game. When they come to you with gossip or complaints, stay neutral. You can say something like, "That's between you and them, not me." Setting. Boundaries is key. Make it clear that you won't tolerate gossip or attempts to drag you into fights. If they persist, don't be afraid to limit your contact with them. It's not your responsibility to fix their issues or mediate their conflicts. If avoiding them at family gatherings isn't possible, try to stick to neutral topics and limit one-on-one conversations where they can rope you into their drama. It's also important to protect your relationships with other family members from their influence. If you suspect they've spread falsehoods about you, reach out to those family members directly and have an honest conversation. Often, people caught in the drama starter's web don't realize they're being manipulated until someone points it out. Remember, your happiness and peace of mind are worth more than entertaining someone else's chaos. Your time and energy should go to meaningful, uplifting connections, not to someone who seeks only to disrupt. You've worked too hard and lived too long to waste even a moment dealing with unnecessary drama. At the end of the day, life is far too short to let someone else's antics dictate your happiness. The drama starter can create as much chaos as they want, but they can't affect you unless you let them. Keep your focus on peace, positivity, and the relationships that truly matter. Your golden years are meant for serenity, not storms. Walk away from their drama and walk toward a life of calm and joy. You've earned it. Relative 4, the eternal victim. Let's move on to the eternal victim, the family member who seems to be perpetually stuck in a cycle of helplessness and woe. No matter what happens, life is always unfair to them, and nothing is ever their fault. They constantly seek sympathy and attention, leaving you drained and questioning why you always feel obligated to pick up the pieces of their self-inflicted messes. This person thrives on pity. They recount endless tales of how they've been wronged by everyone, from their boss to their neighbors and even other family members. Somehow, the world is always out to get them. But if you look closer, you'll often find that their troubles result from poor decisions they refuse to take accountability for. A bad relationship, poor money management, or a burned bridge. They're always the victim, never the cause. The real trap with the eternal victim is how they pull you into their web of problems. They don't just want you to listen, they want you to fix. They'll unload their burdens onto you, expecting you to offer emotional support, solutions, or even financial assistance. If you try to hold them accountable or encourage them to take action, you'll often be met with phrases like, "You just don't understand," or worse, they'll make you feel guilty for not giving enough. Over time, this behavior can take a significant toll on your emotional well-being. You may find yourself dreading their phone calls or visits, knowing you're about to hear a long list of complaints with little room for positivity. And let's be honest, when you're in your golden years, the last thing you need is someone constantly dumping negativity into your life. Dealing with an eternal victim requires both compassion and firm boundaries. Start by recognizing their pattern and deciding how much you're willing to engage. Listening is fine to a point, but don't allow yourself to be their constant emotional crutch. You can say something like, "I'm sorry you're feeling this way, but I'm not in a position to solve this for you." It's also okay to redirect the conversation. When they start diving into their usual litany of complaints, gently steer them toward more positive topics. Ask about something they enjoy, or suggest a simple solution to one of their issues. If they dismiss your efforts and return to their grievances, that's your cue to limit the interaction. Setting time boundaries is especially important. If they call to vent, keep the conversation short. "I've got to run in 10 minutes, but I can talk until then." Don't let their problems dominate your time. It's too precious. If they visit and start spiraling into negativity, find a way to shift focus or politely end the visit if necessary. Another crucial step is protecting yourself from guilt. The eternal victim will often make you feel like it's your duty as a family member to console and assist them. Remind yourself that your responsibility is to take care of your own health and happiness first. Offering occasional support is kind, but constantly enabling their behavior helps neither of you. Remember, you've spent a lifetime navigating life's ups and downs. You've earned the peace and stability that come with wisdom and experience. Don't let an eternal victim steal that from you. Choose to surround yourself with people who bring light and positivity into your life, not those who seek to drag you into their endless darkness. Your emotional health matters, and you're under no obligation to sacrifice it for someone else's constant misery. Letting go of that weight allows you to fully enjoy the life you've built, and you deserve every moment of it. Relative 5. The jealous underminer. Now let's discuss the jealous underminer, that family member who can't seem to celebrate your successes or be happy for you. Instead, they harbor envy, and instead of lifting you up, they work quietly, or not so quietly, to bring you down. Their words, their actions, and even their subtle digs chip away at your confidence and joy. The jealous underminer usually masks their jealousy in backhanded compliments or passive-aggressive remarks. If you mention your latest hobby or an exciting event in your life, they'll say things like, "Must be nice to have all that free time," or "I'm surprised you're able to keep up at your age." On the surface, these comments may seem innocuous, but over time, they can eat away at your self-esteem. Sometimes their undermining goes further than words. Maybe they spread rumors or gossip to diminish others' perceptions of you. Perhaps they bring up embarrassing or irrelevant moments from your past to tarnish your achievements. You might even find that they downplay your struggles, saying things like, "Oh, you've always had it so easy compared to me." The jealous underminer's behavior often stems from their own insecurities. They see your happiness, accomplishments, or resilience as a reflection of what they lack. But instead of working on their own issues, they try to drag you down to their level. While their jealousy isn't your fault, it can be toxic to deal with, especially in old age when you're looking to enjoy life and reflect on your achievements without guilt or drama. The tricky part is, this relative may claim they're just being honest or telling it like it is. Don't fall for it. Their so-called honesty is often a guise for their own bitterness and frustration. And if you let their negativity seep in, you may find yourself doubting your worth, your choices, and even the joy you've worked so hard to cultivate. So, what can you do about a jealous underminer? First, recognize their behavior for what it is, a reflection of their insecurities, not your value. Their envy isn't about you, it's about them. Keep that perspective in mind so their words don't hit as hard. Second, set firm boundaries. If their comments or actions cross a line, don't be afraid to call them out. Calmly but assertively say, "I don't appreciate comments like that, and I'd prefer if we kept things positive." This lets them know their behavior isn't acceptable without escalating the situation. If they persist, consider limiting your interactions. You don't have to cut them off entirely, but you can control when and how often you engage with them. Stick to group settings where their undermining behavior is less likely to occur, and avoid discussing personal achievements or sensitive topics in their presence. Lastly, focus on surrounding yourself with supportive people who genuinely care about your happiness. Celebrate your successes and milestones with those who uplift and encourage you. Life is too short to let someone else's envy cloud your joy. You've come too far and achieved too much to let a jealous underminer diminish your light. You've earned every success, every happy moment, and every hard-won lesson. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Your life is your masterpiece. Don't allow someone else's jealousy to smear its beauty. Stand tall, embrace your joy, and continue shining bright. You deserve it. Relative 6. The overly dependable. Finally, let's talk about the overly dependable, that family member who always seems to rely on you for everything. No matter what the issue is, they come to you because, in their eyes, you're the only one who can help. And while at first, being their go-to person might feel like an act of kindness, over time, it becomes an overwhelming burden. The overly dependable is that relative who needs assistance with even the smallest task or decision. From grocery shopping to making appointments to organizing events, they feel like they can't manage without you. They'll constantly text or call you for advice, sometimes several times a day. They expect your help without ever considering the impact it has on your time and energy. This person might be completely competent on their own, but they've learned that leaning on you is easier. Maybe they know you're a problem solver or that you always put family first, so they exploit that. They may tell you they just need a quick favor, but those quick favors quickly accumulate, and before you know it, they've become your full-time job. It's not that you don't want to help your family. Of course you do. But you've earned the right to have a life where you're not constantly at someone else's beck and call. At this stage of life, you need your own space to enjoy the freedom and leisure you've worked hard for, not to play the role of constant caretaker or assistant. The overly dependable can be draining. They don't realize how often they're intruding on your life, because to them, it's just part of the family dynamic. But the reality is, every time you drop what you're doing to assist them with something trivial, you're sacrificing moments that could be spent relaxing, reflecting, or engaging with other family members in a more balanced way. If you're dealing with this type of relative, it's crucial to put some firm boundaries in place. Let them know gently, but assertively, that while you love them, your time is valuable. And you can't be their personal assistant all the time. For example, you can say, "I'm happy to help with major things, but I need time for my own activities and relaxation. Please make sure you try solving smaller problems on your own first." Another approach is to offer alternatives. If they ask for your help in ways that could be avoided, gently suggest another solution. For instance, you could say, "Have you tried looking up the answer to that online?" Or, "I can help with this in an hour after I finish my task." Over time, your efforts to protect your own time might surprise them. It may feel uncomfortable at first for them, and you might face some guilt-tripping or frustration in return. But it's important to remember that you are not responsible for solving every one of their problems. Your life doesn't revolve around constantly picking up the slack for someone who chooses to rely on you instead of managing their own affairs. Ultimately, your well-being should come first. If you give too much of yourself to others, you risk losing the energy and peace you deserve. The overly dependable relative might take time to adjust to your newfound boundaries, but they'll likely understand. After all, family relationships thrive on respect, and if they value you, they'll come to see how vital it is for you to have time for your own pursuits. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You deserve your time, your joy, and your peace. Take back what's yours and remind yourself you are not their constant crutch. Your life is your own, and it's time to reclaim it. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts or personal experiences, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more tips on living your best life as a senior. And if you want to get even more advice straight to your inbox, be sure to sign up for our Savvy Senior newsletter, where I share even more valuable insights and stories just like this one. The link to sign up is in the description. Stay wise, stay savvy, and I'll see